Welcome back, folks. Of course, very quickly, just an ad break. Have to pay the bills. And then I've got two new, very esteemed guests that have joined me on the show this evening. Before I get to them, though, just a reminder that you've got to stay tuned because a little bit later in the show, there's going to be a Spot the Team score competition coming up. Of course, we'll also look to see what the Forceway ladies are doing. We'll see the importance of having a ladies' side in your ranks. And then also we got to manage to get our hands on some highlights between Bellville and Kelly's. It was played last Wednesday, a big game there for both sides as they prepare for what's to come this season. But without further ado, Mr. Club Rugby himself, Renzel Botman, welcome to Cap Rugby TV.
Hey, Mooks. Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's quite a nice surprise to see you in the hot seat tonight, man.
Yeah, I'm in the hot seat. We have no idea where JP is, as already mentioned, but I can confirm that I'll be in the hot seat for the next couple of weeks. So hopefully we can hunt JP down and he can take his seat back. But until then, I'll be keeping you company every Wednesday night, of course, between 9 and 10 p.m. Then, of course, also joining me on the show this evening is Murray Ingram, the Director of Rugby at NTK. Murray, welcome to Cap Rugby TV, and how things going, man?
Thanks for having me, Morgs. I'm not sure if this is a setup, you know, you hosting the show, and you know, I'm suddenly a guest here again, and you're our first fixture in the league. So, no, thanks for having me. Going well.
Yeah, folks, Murray is spot on. He can confirm that Kraaifontein, a club down in Kraaifontein, of course, that I know fairly well, will be playing NTK in the first league game of the season. Speaking of fixtures, we're getting right into it, Murray. Happy with what has been dished out for you in Super League B this year?
Yeah, it's always, you know, obviously us going down, you don't really know what to expect in terms of, like, you know, home and away. And so you have some predictions, and when the fixtures came out, I said, could kind of flip them around and it'd kind of give you the same result, you know, like you always target some teams that you'd prefer to play at home, teams with big, you know, home crowds of their own, and so it's, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. I think it's going to be a nice challenge and a good opportunity for us as a club to rebuild all the things we want to build.
Yeah, speaking of a rebuild, of course, I mean, you had the luxury, I suppose, of choosing your pre-season friendlies to a certain degree, making sure the boys are going to hit the ground running, you know, when Kraaifontein comes around. But your friendlies, you're starting this week as well, as I imagined?
Yeah, we actually, thanks to the guys from Violet's Rugby Club, they came around last night. We played some chuckers with them, right from 20s up to the first team squad. So that was quite lekker. Got a few, you know, got a bit of the physicality out of the way. So that was a kind of informal training game, and then our first game's actually at Kraaifontein Festival, playing Durban. That's a big game, a reminder of what Super League A looks like. And then, yeah, we're going to see Roger at Tygerberg the week after that.
Yeah, you know, I was chatting very sort of at length with Roger and Alistair just previously about, you know, where teams find themselves at this time of the year in the season. You know, as we saw the Peniel Villages, they were, you know, getting the fitness up and going, sort of looking like they were getting into the contact. Then we went down to Massey. It looks like Massey are, you know, busy with their maps. They were already plotting what they want to do, you know, their shape and so forth. NNK, where do you guys find yourselves? I mean, are you full blown into the full swing of things now, or are you still sort of tippy-toeing around, recruiting some players here and there and so forth?
I think you recruit right till the last minute, you know. Look, my background's in conditioning, so on that side we pretty, you know, on the front foot. But as much as you can be in club rugby, it's certainly not professional rugby. You know, you guys all know it's this is community rugby, and you always, like I always say to people, you got to understand complexity. You got to actually be willing to do 20 things at once. So now we're in a good place. We're better than we were in the preseason last year. I can tell you that. But you're never where you want to be.
Yeah, I can tell you that as well. No coach is where he wants to be at this stage of the season. It is silly season, but as a little birdie told me that I think the cutoff for player movement this year is going to be the 15th of March. I could be wrong, so if I am wrong, then you blame JP. If I'm right, then you say Morgan said that's exactly the date. But I think it's the 15th or the 18th of March is the cutoff for player movement and for silly season to finally come to an end. So plenty of coaches, plenty of players will still be doing lots of movement in my experience between now and then. Then Mr. Club Rugby himself, Renzel. Speaking of player movement, speaking of what's happening in the world of club rugby, where we're at, am I right, firstly, by the 15th of March? And what else do you have there in the world of club rugby taking place?
Look, Morgs, I'm speaking under correction of the 15th, but I know it's normally middle middle March, about 3 weeks before the league starts. That's normally cut-off time. But look, it's still silly season, so you'll have 150 guys at the club, and by the 1st of March, you'll see there's 70 guys at the club. So still silly season, guys still finding their feet, finding the right club to be at. So yeah, hopefully a lot of guys will obviously or hopefully stick to the club they're at the moment. This makes it nice and the competition nicer as well.
Yeah, speaking of competition, I mean, there's of course the ladies competition, and False Bay Rugby Club are very much the front runners when it comes to ladies rugby in the Western Cape. We managed to head down to False Bay and see what the ladies have been up to over the last couple of weeks. Don't go anywhere, we're going to catch up with the ladies.
Broken Broncos head.
Session.
There we have it, the False Bay ladies. Hard at work, of course. Also putting in the work and the contact, and the shields are out, and plenty of chat and banter around the ladies. Lots of smiling faces as well. False Bay definitely doing something right when it comes to ladies rugby. Speaking of ladies rugby, Marie, you guys are working on a ladies team, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a big ambition for us to get right this year. We have a girls team that's come out of my Connect Academy. And so some of those girls, including my daughter, actually matriculated last year. So I'm using her to recruit some of her friends, and some of the, we've had some good successes with female players. 1 or 2 Springboks come out of our system in the past. But it's a challenge we're looking forward to, and I think it's an important part of the modern day club. You got to really, what's interesting is in our junior academy, we're actually getting a lot of primary school girls starting to come play rugby too.
Yeah, fantastic to see so many more female rugby teams popping up here and there. Renzo, what do you think the importance is of having a female rugby team on the greater scheme of the whole club as a whole?
Look, Mogs, Western Province Rugby, I think they focus, or they focus a lot on women's rugby, and I think there's a big gap between school rugby, because there's only certain amount of schools that have ladies rugby. And so when they go to, or when they finish at school, where they're going to go to? So I think it's very important for a club, or all the clubs actually, not just a few, but all the clubs to actually start that. Because it's very important, because there's a lot of opportunities for girls to play in a professional setup, to be at Western Province, at the HPC. So I think it's very important for each club to look at that, and good for NTK, False Bay, to start their goals, and I think False Bay is the trendsetter at the moment, starting with 8 ladies, and look where they are at the moment. So I think NTK with Murray they're going to do good there as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think at some point in the near future we're going to see, just like if you don't have an under-20 team, you're going to be docked some points. I think in the near future we're going to have to get make sure that at least a couple of clubs, or a couple more clubs in the Western Province leagues have ladies teams. It's of utmost importance to serve the community in which the club exists. Folks, we're going to take a quick ad break, and when we come back, of course, we're going to catch up with the highlights within Bellville and Kelly's, and then, of course, we still have the score competition coming up in a couple of minutes where you can win for yourself a case of score. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be back in just a couple of minutes.